we're going to talk about being in the energy of you are enough. Sometimes in life, we are led to feel like we're not good enough, we're not worthy. There's a sense that we have to overcompensate to make someone love you, to make someone understand you, to overcompensate in a way that we get that promotion. But are we really happy? There's so many times where we lose ourselves in the journey to please someone else and meet someone else's expectations. Often, that's a learned experience, conditioned from the earlier days. So where in your life do you not feel like you're good enough, worthy enough? What's not enough? You know, enough is not just stuff, things that we have. We may have enough, we may want more, but we're talking about that which defines you, your self-esteem, your energy, your unique blueprint, and all the stories that make up who you are. We're talking about the energy that often gets pushed to the side because we're in competition, perhaps with siblings, or we're not seen or heard the same as someone else. Now, this isn't a story of us playing victim, sitting on the stoop crying, saying, I didn't get a fair shot at life. Although I doubt there's a human being that hasn't felt they didn't get a fair shot at something at one point. We are conditioned to be the comparing mind, to compare us to someone else. Sometimes people will say, well, I don't think I could ever do what you do, Sarah. And I laugh and I say, you'll never know unless you try. And everyone has their own unique way to connect, to know that the universe, to know that the divine is with you, to understand the conversations from the angels. Everyone's talking. Maybe you're not listening, but the whole universe is continually talking to all of us, giving us this energy of we're here. What do you want? And then we say, I want this, but I don't think I'll get it. Where does that feeling come from? How is it that you don't think it's possible? Where's the first learned behavior of disappointment? We all have had a disappointment in life and even growing up. Maybe you weren't picked for the kickball team. Maybe they didn't pick you for cheerleading. Maybe you felt like you were always on the outside looking in. Many people feel that way. You're not alone. And sometimes we're not meant to fit into that group. We haven't found our tribe, our community, our unity, our connection. Every one of you has a unique value to the tapestry of life. There's a woven story within everybody's story that connects us all across a grid of energy. Frequencies that blend ever so gently together, forming this energetic network of human beings that are created in the image of the divine, each with their own personality. Well, it's interesting. And yes, as we are observers of others and have our thoughts run through our minds, we may think things are a little more interesting than we bargained for. We may think that people are just not on the same wavelength. But not everybody is meant to be. When you look out into a garden, does every flower grow to the same exact height? Does every tree have the same width of the trunk? Does it grow to the same height? Is it shaped the same way? No. So if nature has its own uniqueness, and well, most days I think we're superior to nature and our energy and our blueprint, then of course we're going to have differences. And we may not always understand where someone else is coming from. But some of us, we just want to be loved. We just want to know that there's someone who appreciates us and is there for us. But first and foremost, you have to appreciate yourself. You have to know your worth. What do you bring to the table? And you cannot compare yourself or lose yourself for someone else. It's so important that you fill your heart with your love and your mission. Everyone has a mission. Do you think I'm the only person with a mission? No. Millions of people have a mission. For some, it's the bringing forth of family. For others, it's the mentoring of others. For another, it's the healing as a nurse or a doctor. For someone else, it's the musician that brings the music that inspires the hearts of many. Perhaps it's the actor on the stage, the writer who writes the book. We all have our own unique path. But as you are, imperfectly perfect, in your uniqueness, you are enough. There's a value that you bring to this world. If you think you're not enough, then you're forgetting that in the image that was created, the value that is you, the blueprint that defines you, was created by the same energetic being that created an entire universe that we as humans can't even comprehend and totally understand. And we're always discovering more out in space. So how would you think that there's a mistake in how you were created? I know, wait, it's because you landed with the wrong family. Might feel that way, but there's a reason why you're with that family. How many of you listening, watching on YouTube and Facebook, how many of you have felt that the family that you connected with, that energy was so different than yours? And you were, even then, as a little one, feeling on the outside looking in. And you felt like the outcast. What if every black sheep in the family or outcast in every family was really the bright light in the family? But because all the others in their company that they kept felt superior because they were quantity and numbers and power, you were the one made to feel on the outside. How many people have experienced not belonging to the family, feeling good, gone out on their own, only to hear that their family has perhaps buried someone they love very much, but never told them? But each individual has their own experience to have. How many of you have had squabbles over family possessions after someone has passed? Do we really think that their breath of life was really about the possessions? Do we really think that we have to prove ourselves to people who don't see us as their equal, their partner, their friend, their family member? Or is it that we need to look in the mirror comfortably and see ourselves for who we are? All the messy stuff too. The flaws, the imperfections, the moments of, well, maybe not your best personal self. Everyone has them. But what drives you? What fuels you? What motivates you to be a better human being? Is it really all the acceptance of others who at a moment's notice could turn their back on you? Or is it being comfortable with who you are when you tuck yourself in bed? Are you happy with who you are? And if you're not happy with who you are, and many of us do go through that, then what can you do to change that? What are you doing about what you want to change? Or are you just talking about it? If it's that important, you'll change it. If not, you're not ready. Then stop worrying about it. People will always have an opportunity. You will always have an opportunity to level up, to be a better human being. And leveling up is not always meant to imply we have to keep up with the Joneses and have a better car and have a better job. Sometimes there's much to be said for a good day's work. Dedicated, focused on the task at hand. I'm sure when I look back at how my father would govern his employees at his restaurant or a country club he was managing, he would be turning in his grave if he saw how many people while on the job have their cell phones right in their hands and It appears they're more focused on their cell phone than the task at hand. Different times, I know. But perhaps our inability to engage with others is really because we are disconnected from ourselves. And we're not feeling that connection. So we use the outside distractions. Often somewhere inside we don't feel good enough. I'm blessed to sit across from so many people from so many different walks of life, having spiritual conversations and seeing where they are at the juncture of their life. And many have very interesting stories, holding on to relationships that are very detrimental, but yet they really love a connection with someone, and they really need a connection by someone in their family, so they hold on to the relationship because they don't want to lose everything, because somewhere in that dynamic of their family, they're finding something. So many of us are taught to find things on the outside. It's all inside. The oneness, the love, the connection. We don't need people to entertain us. We don't need to run around and be driven to distraction. Oh, it's lovely to do, but we don't really need that. And there's the power of stillness. Stillness is key. And the stillness that we sit within gives us opportunity not only to reflect, to visualize, to fantasize, to co-create. It gives us an opportunity to feel something more than just who we are as a physical human being. It's so important. There's the little ones that have grown up not being made to feel that they were smart enough. And so they settle for a job. They don't take a chance to take something that's considered higher learning because they were never encouraged and they were kind of pushed aside. Someone else who was deemed more intelligent, they got the college run. There are so many visions of how our parents and our tribes and our family units view us individually. And very often they cannot get their mind off of their perception of who they think we're supposed to be. Let me tell you this. Never let anyone tell you who you're supposed to be. The only person who has that answer is you. No one is meant to define your destiny but you. There's a contract inside of you. There's a nudge, and there's so many variations to the outcome. So if you think you missed the boat, your time has passed for whatever you feel you still desire in the life, it's still there for you, and you are worthy of it. And don't think that you're not worthy because it hasn't shown up. You don't have that partner you want? It'll come. You don't have a connection with a dream yet? It'll come. You still have that negative parent parroting in your mind? Tell it to be still. It has no power. You're created in a divine image. And you're more than enough. You're worthy enough. You're divine. Every morning, everyone should wake up and say, I am a powerful being. And the being that I am is abundant beyond measure. And that infinite, immeasurable experience is all for my taking. I am able to have all that I desire because I am co-creating with the universe, with every word, with every thought, with every action, with every breath that I take. And I am no longer defined by other people's definitions of who I am. I am able to think outside the box, and I am able to create something more than what I have. And I'm open to the universe's promptings, and all the infinite possibilities that are all over. And I welcome them one by one. And then in the stillness of the knowing that I am worthy and that I am enough, I have the power to sit in the silence and to choose, to allow the universe to flow through me. And anything that pushes against me, I first must ask myself, where do I feel disconnected from my desire? And if something reminds me or triggers me of a thought that doesn't feel good any longer, then I dismiss it. No one has the power to speak their thought of me upon me. It is only I who can speak the words and breathe my breath of life. No one else is breathing for me, because that's my unique breath of life. And in the breath of life, I will co-create in all that I do. And each moment that I have is mine. And I can choose to share it with whomever I desire. And I seek that. And I don't have to belittle myself or put myself in a position to please anyone. I need only show up and be myself. And every day I have an opportunity to define and perfect that self that I am. It's a powerful time every day. So I choose to think. I choose to feel. I choose to know that I am worthy, that I am enough. And I can have it all.